Here are my top 3 tips for getting someone with anxiety to leave the home. Now that we understand how anxiety impacts our bodies, we can get started learning how to combat anxiety with great strategies. In that moment when you first register the feelings of stress, I highly recommend connecting with your breathing as a first step. The first thing we're going to go over are a few of our go-to breathing exercises. Alternate nose breathing. Remember this from the neurosensory centering training? Try breathing in on the right and then out on the left. This breath work will help to calm you down. Breathing in the opposite direction, in on the left and out on the right, will actually make you more alert. So be sure you begin breathing in on the right. The B breath. The B breath is a strategy where you take a long breath in through your nose and then you begin making a buzzing noise like a bee as you slowly breathe out. The vibrating from the buzzing actually activates the vagus nerve and can create feelings of happiness in the body. Plus, pretending you're a bee makes other people laugh too. Magic carpet breath. When you take a deep breath in through your nose and then you slowly exhale your breath out of your mouth for twice the duration, it's called the magic carpet breath because the action can relax your entire body to the point where we tap into the sympathetic nervous system and we feel like we are floating. Trace the number 8. This is a great strategy for visual and kinesthetic learners. Print a picture of the number 8 and trace the number with your finger. Breathe in as you go up on one side of the 8 and breathe out as you go down on the other side of the 8. Playing a wind instrument. This not only promotes proper diaphragmatic breathing, it also can increase brain function by incorporating learning with proper breathing techniques. Blowing up a balloon or blowing bubbles. Blowing bubbles is one of my favorites. When my daughter Nora is experiencing a moment of anxiety, I'll say to her, "Let's do a bubble breath." And she will actually imitate blowing bubbles. She learned the strategy when she was 2 years old, so it has become one she can lean on. It's important to know that not all breath work is aimed at managing anxiety. In fact, some are geared more toward maintaining alertness. Here are a few of those examples. Staccato breathing is when you breathe in through the mouth in 4 short breaths and then you exhale out the mouth in 4 short breaths. This breathing strategy imitates the breath work women in labor practice and can increase alertness. The choo-choo breath is another common one seen to promote alertness. Start by taking a deep breath in through your nose and exhale on a chew, chew beat until the air is gone. Once you get the rhythm, you want to then increase the speed and the volume. For some people though, we've talked about certain activities and foods that can have an impact on our body's ability to handle stress and anxiety on a day-to-day basis. But there are a couple other ways it can impact negatively as well. This being movement and motivation. When someone is experiencing anxiety, movement is another strategy for managing that anxiety. In this video, I'll be going over a few of our top exercises designed to help manage anxiety. Weight bearing, cardio, yoga and Pilates, green exercise, and group fitness. Weight bearing helps divert your attention from the very thing you're anxious about. Your brain moves to focus its energy on something that is immediate physical priority. This is why a lot of weightlifters feel addicted to continued exercise. The body releases endorphins, which interact with the neuroreceptors on the brain and block out pain. In doing so, it also helps suppress anxiety and stress. Cardio is another great way to release stress and boost serotonin. Getting your heart rate up helps change your brain chemistry, increasing the availability of important anti-anxiety neurochemicals, including serotonin and gamma-aminobutyric acid. Yoga or Pilates is another great one. Much like weight bearing, this allows people to access endorphins while also being restorative, improving mental control, reducing fatigue, and increasing breath control. Movement that is outdoors, or as I call it, green exercise, puts you in direct contact with sunlight, giving you access to vitamin D while also releasing those endorphins and accessing serotonin. Serotonin is the body's natural mood stabilizer, so it naturally helps reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And last, group exercise. This is like any of the other exercises, only with the added social element, which can help increase serotonin and oxytocin levels even further, with the added benefit of also keeping people more accountable. Moving our bodies every day is so great for both the mind and body. If you can, try to get moving for at least 30 minutes a day and see if it has an impact in moments of stress. Many experts believe an ideal movement goal for the average person should be close to 10,000 steps a day. Last but not least, motivation is perhaps one of the most important factors when it comes to managing anxiety. We can't always control our emotions, and we can't always stop anxiety from taking hold. However, we can control how we choose to respond to anxiety. One important point that I want you to take away from this training is that anxiety can be harnessed and used in a positive way. If the person experiencing anxiety is able to identify that reaction, they may be able to convert that energy into something positive, like a useful action or an internal reminder. For example, we just learned that exercise is a great coping mechanism. Maybe you can use that to reach a fitness goal. We've all seen how motivation can be a powerful tool when managing anxiety. Just think about the last time you conquered your fears to do something that you really wanted to do. Maybe it was learning to drive a car. Maybe it was riding a zip line or going on a date or doing a backflip. All of these things paralyze most people with anxiety. You can either be the person who swears it off entirely, or you can embrace the challenge because you're prepared. For me, my anxiety-filled experience is flying. I hate to fly. I love traveling, love airports, love new places, but I have an irrational fear of flying. It isn't always practical to drive, so sometimes I need to push myself to fly. In these cases, I'll break into a cold sweat before the plane even takes off. My mind starts racing with everything that can go wrong, and before I know it, I'm wondering if I told my family I love them. This is heightened if the plane drops or shakes. My go-to in this situation is to replay a loved experience in my head that is easy to pull up, like when my husband proposed to me. A pleasant experience allows the brain to release more feel-good hormones. I'm happy to say that I've always made it to my destination in one piece. I'm usually pretty proud of myself for not making a bigger scene. One time I even got so nervous that I actually passed out and hit my head on the seat in front of me, and I woke up a little while later with drool all down my face. If you can harness motivation to get you through those moments of anxiety, you're acknowledging that the outcome is worth the anxiety you'll have to go through. In some cases, that motivation may even feel like guilt or embarrassment. Think about times when you've had to apologize to a friend or coworker. Did you feel anxious about it beforehand? Sometimes that feeling can be motivation enough to initiate action in the first place. No matter where the motivation comes from, trust yourself with the tips and strategies for managing anxiety, and use your motivation to give you confidence. Think back to the example of my daughter Nora. As she continues to grow and learn more about how her body works, she builds a larger repertoire of strategies for combating her anxiety. It will be a lifelong process for some, but can get easier with a self-made recipe for success. As she's grown older, Nora has grown to love school, despite being more of a night owl. She's made several close friends at school, and even though she struggles during larger group settings, especially with lots of sight and sound around her, she is often the bravest child I know. She will try anything despite being scared. Recently we went to Florida, and she was the first one to volunteer to hold an alligator. I am so grateful for her bravery and courage. She inspires me. That concludes this section of our course. For more tips, go to our free webinar at www.thebehaviorbootcamp.com. Remember, my personal recipe for combating anxiety is volunteering, spending time with loved ones, and practicing appreciation. Connection is absolutely critical to help me in dealing with anxiety. Head into the next module for a quick knowledge check on the materials so far and access to helpful resources on all of the materials